We all know a person who has moved elsewhere and insistently invites us to join him for a weekend. After playing the chant, you will have a very good reason to block it on a phone and a social. So, hello everybody, welcome back to our review. Tonight we're gonna have the chant. So Jessica Briars never recovered from her sister's death, a difficult process of mourning and continuous feelings of guilt after her life on a daily basis. Her friend Kim, a long-time resident of remote island, invites her on a weekend to take part in a spiritual retreat that should help her leave the past behind her. And an initial reverence just makes up her mind and joins her, discovering that she is the part of a community whose followers walk around barefoot and dressed in white, feed on berries and rods, follow a so-called pessimistic science, and spend much time practicing meditation and collective songs. The stench of the sect can be heard from miles away, but the protagonist decides to make the best a better situation, just for a weekend. What could possibly go wrong? All the third-person action-adventure survival horror The Chant, developed by Brass Token and distributed by Prime Meta. The Prismic Chant welcomes ritual and the first step to free the mind. It's not too difficult. So Tyler, the leader of this band, rage into something like Om, and one of the participants sitting in a circle have to join the choir. But the Kim is wrong. She was undecided between Om and she didn't have the hunchback with the lyrics on hand. It's not known. The fact that she is wrong and she goes crazy, and finally she summons a monstrous creature from the prismatic dimension. Thus a quiet evening of the lysergic infusions and collective hysteria turns into a struggle for survival. Jess seems to be only one to keep a minimum of sanity, and she must find out how to restore order and leave the island, whose legend about their primastic power seems to be founded, at least judging by the notes, and old reels abandoned everywhere. The ingredients of a horror story are there. The hostile is isolated place, the impossibility of asking for help, a community this is only apparently friendly. The ritual got out of hand, the cursed secret of our life in danger. After the first few minutes on the game, that acts as introduction and tutorial, and it's a succession of twists and decreasing situation. And the story, even if not very original, deserves to be followed. Also think a good voice of dubbing. The gameplay mechanics do not always do justice to the plot, blocking our exploration with the classical closed doors. Keys must be reassembled by combining various fragments scattered around the environment or machinery to be activated by recovering and assembling pieces that are also scattered everywhere. But despite it runs along fixed tracks, artificially scratched, with these old tricks and very script over the game manage to stick us to the pad and make us a couple of the scars. The Swedish software house author of Penumbra and Amnesia series is certainly among the inspiring muses of the Chant, which forces us to deal with the jazz weakness such as nyctophobia, predisposition to panic attacks, and terror of flies. Staying in the dark, witnessing frightening events of experience, physics stress, including simple monster screams, lower of mental energy indicator. Once below a certain threshold, we can no longer fight or better control the character. Fortunately, we are not allowed to recall consuming some herbs of meditating once we research a safe area, free of enemies, and we will it. And faithful to the term mens sana in corpus sano, we must also keep an eye on the life points that drop when suffering physical damage. Surviving on this island is not easy feat, especially for those who are athletically light away from the Lara Croft. You must know that there is a training course to become protagonist of the video games, and during the parkour and martial art lessons of the Jess, or probably in DAD, she did not learn anything. She runs a weight slab, takes a half hour to jump off a low wall, highs roll dodges, and mostly clumsy thumbs of the finger hazardly with the brawl combos in elementary school. Precise choice of gameplay that puts us in the shoes of any girl rather than a badass board from the Avengers, and she's also reflected in the fight since the accelerated cultists have dominations of mind and various mysterious creatures beat inside in the Souls-like. So fortunately, the game does not force us to be Superman by facing the monsters fearlessly, but it tolerates rather encourages escapes and retreats. The situation in which we absolutely have to fight remain many, but other times we can content with a quickly foray to collect what we need and run away. Realistic given the nature of the protagonist. If just physically is light and Riddick would be defined her, things change from the spiritual side. Throughout the meditation and collection of the prism and crystals, we soon learn to activate the physic powers that can enable bullet time by slowing everyone but us, or throw enemies back, or even summon sharp spikes from the ground, as long as we have enough mana. Salt and plants with the mystical powers are also capable of hammering monsters. A skill tree represented here as a sort of pentacle allows the character to grow once the right crystals are found. Archive the term next gen, since we have been in a long time. From the artistic point of view, the chant is well done, but does not astound, not fully exploring the capabilities of the Sony beast. As the game has been set up, in any case the grunt of monster is the dark more effective than 1,000 special effects, but it should not be an excuse for to take refuge in a low poly. The story is still able to distract us from being potential pixel court and textures and make us identify with the protagonist and horror adventure. Everything else is optional. In short, I said the Chant is well-made third-person survival horror action adventure, with despite not deviating from the formula in which you have to recover a series of objects to unlock a new area and progress in the story. Manages to thrill think about to all human nature and fragile of the protagonist, involved chosen in situation bigger than her. She knows how to involve, and on a couple of occasions she also knows how to scare with a well-narrated plot full of twists. So technical level is nice. Anyways guys, I should say that it's interesting story to follow, fully localized, and this an outstanding game to try. So my hand is to get it, play it, and let me know in the comments what do you think about this. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit those bells. Thank you so much. Bye bye, boys and girls.